99, the structure fire, 6845, finally.
A command team is a battalion chief and a firefighter staff assistant, and they work together to orchestrate companies on scene.
Three major objectives are preservation of life, preservation of property, and to do that consistent with safety. And it is paramount as an effective command team to document this situational status, the resource status while en route, and transition to the back of the Suburban to maintain that same accountability while we're factoring in many other variables.
And that process of developing situational awareness, incident objectives, resource status is absolutely at the bare minimum a two-person operation.
They are ready to go back to OCD as soon as they're taking a look at a few 55-gallon drums. As soon as they do that and the chief says it's clear, I told them they can go back to OCD.
Being able to track accountability of firefighters and resources from the moment that they get on scene is huge. And having that staff assistant as part of my command team, someone that I train with regularly, we work together all the time, is critical to us working and functioning as a team.
Rear Park, I see this information. Like guy does say they have an airship en route now to your incident.
Task Force 1031 from Ops.
You know, the funny thing is when we get the long range and we go to an emergency, we're already behind the curve. We're trying to get there. As we're getting there, the incident's growing or expanding. Fire progresses. It doubles in size for every minute it goes unchecked.
Roger, we've been trying to track what you're at right now with companies. I want to make sure all companies on the Vineland Street fire, we are in a defensive mode. Nobody's entering the structures. I want to know what's going on in the exposure to the north as soon as I can.
So we're playing catch up. We get there, and now we're trying to get ahead of the fire or the incident so that we can manage it, so we can get control of it, so we can contain and confine and mitigate the hazard. Also, we have companies coming in to staging, asking for assignments, asking for resources. We have companies that we're requesting through dispatch. We have other people walking up to the command post. There's a lot of things happening there, and you need a battalion team or a command team to mitigate those things that are coming in, to assign the allocated resources, and to move on through the incident.
We start out with the dispatch. Matt, the battalion chief, is monitoring 3 channels. We've got our dispatch channel, our tactical channel for the units to talk back and forth, and the all-important channel 6, our firefighter emergency channel. As soon as we get on scene, we pick up another channel with a staging channel. And then as we get more supervisors, command officers on team, we pick up another channel with command channel. 5 different radio channels that can all be taught with people talking all at once in the back. By the time we have 10 fire companies on scene, with everyone having a radio, there's over 1,600 possible combinations of people talking together on that radio.
Station 90, we have a 1-story auto body shop with partial damage and heavy fire showing 3 burn victims. We're at 161. Battalion 12th Division, we have a 1-3. Control partial collapse. We have 20 people reported missing.
The address again, 20 people?
21.
20.
Battalion 12 from Division 3 on 3. Bailing over the shot.
Engine 90, give me your address again.
The LA City area has a very diverse incident pool. We have metro rail, we have high rise, we have brush, we have multi-casualty incidents. Well, we have a very large department in the city of Los Angeles. It could take minutes for hundreds of firefighters to get on scene. And you can only imagine the type of confusion that goes on with 100 firefighters on scene right now. We reduce that chaos with sit-stat and restat, situation status and resource status.
We call the first few minutes at a escalating incident the initial action period. In my 31 years on the fire department, the only sure thing is that the firefighters are going to do an outstanding job. And on the very small routine incidents, they can usually do it without a lot of direction. When it gets big and it's beyond their visual scope, the catalyst for organizing them into an efficient attack is always going to be the battalion command team and the staff assistant.
I like to think of myself as important as his right hand. It's a critical function. To be able to just have to use one hand daily in life is very challenging. It's much easier to do it with two hands and be able to be effective.
You know, if you were to compare a staff assistant and a battalion chief or an assistant chief to the private sector with a company CEO, it would be like being the chief of staff. You're really that commander or that CEO's right-hand guy, the guy that he can always count on to get the job done. When you come together and make a team and run an incident and keep people safe, you want a guy that's going to do the best he can, to the best of his ability, to the best of his training. And the job is so dynamic and so specific that you can't just take a firefighter right from off the tailboard and have them do the job. It's far more than that.
The unique process that the LAFD embarks on while in the throes of an earthquake, each of the 16 geographical battalions become their own freestanding fire department, if you will. The battalion chief and the staff assistant take their sedan to a safe area. They open up direct line radio communications to each of the fire stations under their command, and as those fire stations are canvassing their districts, identifying damage to relative target hazards within their district, the battalion commander and the staff assistant become the chief of the fire department, the dispatch center. They prioritize what resources get what until such time that the rest of the city is, if they're not in the same problem, we will eventually get more resources. But for that first hour period, if you can think about the battalion commander and the staff assistant controlling upwards of 70 firefighters in a 20 square mile area that may have catastrophic widespread damage, they are absolutely going to have their hands full.
The true value of a staff assistant is when in fact something really could go wrong or something does go wrong. And the question is, do we have the team in place to immediately manage it? If something were to happen to any one of these companies, immediately, do we know where that company is at, and could we immediately launch Rick to go and help them? And the risk is too high when we think about firefighter safety and when we think about civilian safety.
The public expectation amongst the citizens of Los Angeles is rightfully that the LAFD's command and control component is organized, trained, and equipped sufficiently enough to effectively manage the multitude of LAFD resources while on scene at a catastrophic incident. The current configuration of a battalion command team consisting of a battalion commander and the staff assistant who get on scene, organize the incident, develop objectives, maintain situational and resource status from the receipt of the alarm all the way through the incident's conclusion is a tried and true and effective process that will allow LAFD to meet that challenge and the public's expectation.